What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Vanya, personal trainer at Freeform Fitness. Today, I'm gonna show you what I eat in a day over the weekend. So it's Saturday. I don't train any clients over the weekend, but today, Freeform has a team registered for Hope Beach Volleyball Festival, an annual charity volleyball tournament that happens in Ottawa. So it's going to be a fairly long day. Our first game is scheduled at 10 o'clock and our last game is scheduled at 3. So I'm just having my morning coffee. So in here I just have a scoop of protein powder, milk, and French press coffee. I like to use my little milk frother. It's a pretty easy way to get the protein powder mixed in nicely with the milk without leaving any lumps. And it's a lot easier to clean. You don't have to drag out a blender or anything like that. And then it also makes the milk and coffee nice and frothy. So for breakfast this morning, I'm also gonna be making a cheese omelet with some veggies on the side. Now, because I'm gonna be out all day at this volleyball tournament, I'm gonna be sticking to a fairly low carb breakfast. Now, it may seem counterintuitive because I'm gonna be doing something fairly active. You'd think you need some carbs to go along with it, but for me, I know that being outside of the house at a tournament where there's not gonna be a lot of great food options available. For instance, lunch is provided for us, and I think it's just like burgers or something. And it's a lot easier to have access to high carb foods when you're away from the house. So I figured this morning for breakfast, since I have the most control over what I'm gonna be eating today, I'm gonna stick with something high in protein and low in carbs because I'm gonna have lots of access to that throughout the whole day. So I forgot to mention that I'm also gonna be having 3 slices of bacon with my omelet. So even though I'm not gonna be eating very many carbs with my breakfast, I'm still going to be getting a ton of calories to sustain me throughout the morning with the fat and protein from the bacon. So for this omelet, I am using 3 eggs. Now, a couple of years ago, I actually filmed a video with my niece, who was 10 at the time. I taught her how to make a cheese omelet. So if you want to see how I make my omelets, then just check out that video. All right, so I got my omelet and bacon here, and I'm just gonna add some Curtito, say El Salvadorian fermented cabbage. So after coffee and some breakfast, I'm feeling much more awake and energized, ready to go for this volleyball tournament. And we got these pretty cool team shirts made. We also have these great sunglasses with Healthy Human and Freeform Fitness on the arms. So we'll be looking pretty snazzy on the court. So I just survived a vicious attack. Don't be fooled by this admittedly cute furry creature. He's not as docile and innocent as he looks. Right, Toby? Alright, so it's time for me to head out to Mooney's Bay. I don't have a car, and so I bought this really cool e-bike about a year ago now, and it's really useful for helping me travel a lot further out without needing a car in the summertime. I do have just a regular normal bike, but for me, as a personal trainer who's already quite active on a daily basis, and as somebody who likes to live simply and like to think of myself as a bit of a minimalist, I don't really want to eat any more food than I already have to. So the e-bike is a great way for me to be able to get around without a car, without having to expend too many extra calories. Great first win, team.
At 1 o'clock, head over there and complete your
No vegetables.
Battlefield Pizza. Battlefield
Important to stay hydrated. The team is going to refill our water bottles. Since we knew that lunch wasn't going to be great, we came prepared with some snacks. So we got some protein bars, pure protein. Always nice to have different flavors and variety. It's a great portable way to get protein when you're out and about, so it's always a good choice. Had 2 of these already today.
Oh, Lily wants a protein bar.
Lily and I had to pick stuff up. Wolf's going for a fun time. Nice. Lily was nice enough to slice up all these.
Oh my. Jules did it. Hung over.
Fresh watermelon.
Wonderful.
There you go. And another classic fruit, apples. So nice and refreshing on a hot day. Last but not least, gotta have our chips. Because it's always good to have something fun.
Yeah.
Why come to the beach and just be healthy? Nope, that wasn't my afternoon coffee. We've actually arrived to Sunday morning. So after the volleyball tournament yesterday, came home, had a shower, and all of a sudden got really tired. So I lay down on the bed and ended up taking a 2, maybe close to 3-hour nap. My hair was still in its towel. I didn't even turn the lights off. I just laid down and immediately fell asleep. I was really surprised at how exhausted I felt. But it makes sense. A long day outside in the sun. What ended up happening is last night my husband was supposed to make dinner. At that point in time, past 7, he didn't really feel like making dinner either. So we ended up just ordering takeout. We ordered Greek food, chicken souvlaki, and I was so tired that I didn't even bother getting good lighting to film what I was eating. So sorry for the poor quality on that. But yeah, that's another reason why I tend to go lower carb if I can, whenever I do have good control over what I'm eating. It's just because access to high carb food is fairly easy out in the world in terms of what's accessible via things like takeout, snack foods, that kind of thing. So overall, yesterday wasn't super representative of what I would normally eat in a day, but things like that do happen on occasion. It's not something that I get too worked up about. I just want to maintain a way of eating that's relatively easy for me, doesn't require a lot of thinking, but still leaves room for things like the occasional impromptu takeout meal. What I try and think about is making sure that I get enough protein throughout the day. A general rule of thumb that I try and follow for myself and what I recommend to my clients is to hit at least 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein per day. Number 2, making sure I'm being reasonable with my carb intake. Because of how active I am, I find that I can handle higher carb ranges, but again, it is really easy to overdo it, and take in more than what you actually need. I'm generally pretty boring with my eating habits. My day-to-day eating throughout the week doesn't change too much. But yeah, I thought today would be an interesting day to show just because it involved being in an environment where I wouldn't have a ton of control over what I would be eating, and I find that that's what people kind of struggle with the most, and something that I find myself having to help my clients manage often, especially during the summer where there's a lot of socializing that's going on, travel, that sort of thing. It's just more common for people to run into those impromptu situations where there's less control over what you have to eat. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching another one of our videos. Click like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and maybe I'll have more Toby on as well. See you in the next one.